ahead and make sure we're clear. Walk that back. Chamber's empty, dirty, but empty. All right, so a few things that you want to make sure of when you're going to zero this IRAY RH25. I run the ADM QD mount in front of my attacker here. The mount actually just always stays on my rail. I never take it off. The only thing I ever take off is this little guy here. So a few things. First, you want to make sure that this guy is all tightened up. He's not got any type of wiggle room. Like I said, he never comes off, so once he's on there for me. That way, the only thing I ever have to worry about wiggling around is this guy. And anytime before I'm hunting, before I shoot, whatever, I'm always going to verify that it's tight enough there where there's actually absolutely zero play inside that mount on that pick rail. If there's any play there, every time you slap it on, you know, your zero is going to change just a wee bit every here and there. So a few things real quick. We will kind of show you what I'm working with here. There's a white dot and a small arrow. I don't know if the camera will focus on that guy right there. You want to make sure that those guys are lined up to make sure you can zero and collimate this to your scope. This basically just puts it on the same focal plane. Basically think of this like a diopter on a scope that you mess with for your own eyesight, but this is gonna put it on the same focal plane as your scope. Basically, it's an infinity setting. So that's first thing first. Like I said, I slap this guy on here, and I'll grab the camera and kind of do a quick setup here. This is how close I run this guy. I don't use the rubber eyepiece between the two. I really don't see a need to. I run a 1.7 scope mount, and it has 1.7 from the top of the rail to the midline of the scope here. This guy, I think, comes in right about 1.62. So he's not exactly perfect. He's kind of the median between the 1.54 mounts and 1.70. So as long as you're running one of those two height mounts, you probably should be good to go. But it will require a little bit of tweaking in terms of your collimating on the scope itself. We're actually going to start off without the unit. We're just basically going to confirm zero with the day scope. I'm actually running my 55 grain, just kind of like range plinking ammo here. There's no need to spend your expensive hunting ammo or your match grade, whatever you want. You can do all this with your cheap 55, so long as you actually know the difference in your holes. Luckily on this rifle here, it's a 13.9 core barrel from Criterion. The 77 grain SMK and most of my 55 grain M193 clone stuff had 100 yards. There's really not a whole lot of difference. Sometimes the SMK will shoot, I don't know, about maybe 3/4 of an inch low, and I know that that's about 0.1 to 0.2 mil hole depending on the day and the weather. So we're gonna go ahead and send off a couple of rounds here for zero confirmation. Then we will slap the unit on, and then we will check the unit, and then we'll go from there. I do all zero confirmations long range shooting without iPro. Just helps me out. So cancel me. Alright, 3 shots is plenty for just checking confirmation. Gun's on safe. Drop that. Send her out. So we're clearing empty. Just so the Nazis don't come after me. We'll go check out the target here. You can see all these darked and marked shots. I use this just because it gives a better thermal background, a better contrast with the cardboard for when we throw on the actual thermal. So I shot 3 shots there, and 2 of them are right here. So, and then the third is right here, which this is 55 grain M193 ball ammo, and I'm literally shooting from that tripod in a seated position. I'm, you know, sitting within probably 2 inches right there, which for 100 yards on sitting on a tripod like that with that grain ammo, it's already 1.5 MOA ammo out of the gate, so I'm gonna take that all day long. This is zeroed with my 77 grain stuff, but I just use this cheaper stuff for zero confirmation, because obviously I ain't gonna spend 10 bucks every time I try to see what my thermal's doing. So we'll take that so we know where we're shooting. Now we're gonna go throw on the thermal and see what we can do. Again, I'm going to verify that my collimation points are lined up on the eyepiece. We are powered on. Probably can't see in there, but that's okay. Go ahead and slap this guy on the pick rail. Probably helps whenever you disengage it first. Slap that guy on there. Tighten him up, and I mean, I have to work quite a bit to get that guy tight, but he doesn't move anywhere at all. So I should take the video on the IRAY app through the thermal so that you guys can see what I'm seeing. Alrighty, so it is 1:45 in the afternoon. We're at 13:44 in the afternoon here. I know you guys can't really see it just because of the zoom on the 1X, but that target down there is 100 yards. Same thing, I haven't changed anything around. I've now got the unit on and secured. We're gonna double check that it is in clip-on mode, because I have noticed if it's not on clip-on mode and is in your standard handheld mode, you are going to have a bad time and chase your zero. So double check that this is on clip-on mode. I've already got my focus set, just because I've done this once or twice before, and we'll go ahead and send 3, see where they land, and verify. All right, there's our 3 shots. Let me see if I can change modes here. That way maybe we can zoom in into handheld mode there. You can kind of see that dark is the foam on the bottom there, and the white is the tape. And all I'm doing is aiming for the center line of the black duct tape that comes to go there. Just kind of helps give me a more defined target out here on these days where it's real sunny like this. So yeah, that's what we got. Okay, so before we started, I went ahead and intentionally moved my Y coordinate on my unit just so you guys can see what the offset looks like. So we are about 1.5 inches high from where we really want to be. So we're gonna go back, we're gonna adjust the scope, we're gonna pull down the Y coordinate. So I believe right now it's at like -3. I believe that's where we're at. We're gonna bring it down to 1-4, so that we can watch the shift come down. And then we'll come back and re-verify. Alrighty, so I was correct. We were at 1-3 in terms of our XY coordinates set in clip-on mode. I just changed that guy to 1-4. So we should come down in the Y-axis, i.e. up and down. You know, you go negative in the Y-axis, you should go farther down. You go more positive in the Y-axis, you should go up. Pretty simple. Well, should be anyway, but if you're like me, you know, we all struggle. Southern Indiana hillbilly shit, right? So we'll send 3 more, see if this was enough to take it, and then we'll check it out. One, 2, and 3. We'll go down, make sure it moved down, and if we're where we need to be, we'll keep it right there. Okay, so right here, 1, 2, 3. That was our 3 that we shot without the thermal on. Now mind you, we do have a little bit of wind. It's kind of gusting, going from left to right on the screen here. So then when we put the unit on, we were shooting high and we were at 1, -3. So I went back and adjusted the Y coordinate to -4. And here are our last 3 shots, 1, 2, 3. I'm much more happy with these 3, collimating with these 3 from earlier, than I am with this guy up here at like 1.5 inches high at 100. So I'm gonna leave mine at 1, -4. Final thoughts on zeroing the IRAY. Make sure that your arrow and dot for your diopter, your eyepiece, are lined up to put it at that infinity focus. Make sure there's absolutely zero play in your mount of choice, whether you're using the mount that comes with it or you're using the pigtail and the ADM QD mount. Make sure that those suckers are snug, especially the one on your rail, and the one that you actually clamp the unit on with. Whenever I clamp that unit, I have to put some force onto it, and I will actually hold it there to make sure it's tight enough and try to wiggle the unit within the pick rail. If it's not tight enough, you'll watch it move, and you might have to put some force in it, but it will move. The third thing is make sure that you are in clip-on mode the entire time you're zeroing. Like I said, as soon as it goes to that standalone mode, and it's kind of hard to notice in the scope unless you are at a true 1x and really paying attention to the picture. Whenever it's in clip-on mode, you know, it'll be a farther away square box because it's a true 1x compared to the standard handheld mode, which is, I think it's like a 1.3x. So those are the 3 key things. I'll try to do my best to answer any questions that people have. I think I've only had this unit not too long, so I think I've only killed 4 or 5 dogs with it at this point. Like, we're just getting started. It's been pretty awesome for me. I use it as a helmet mounted thermal 99% of the time. The only time it goes on the gun is whenever I see dogs in the field and we're getting ready to shoot. Other than that, it stays on a bridge with a PVS 14, and that's how I scan at night. Is it a $6,000 end-all be-all clip-on? No, it's not. It's not the best clip-on out there. It's 25mm tube. 6x, you really start getting super grainy. 8x is usable. Like, you can make shots with it at 8x, but you're not gonna like the picture. But I mean, hell, I could give it less about the picture if I'm putting dogs on the ground at 400 yards, which, you know, I've made a shot out to 350 with this already, so I'm not having any problems there. But it is not made to just be a clip-on by itself. It is made to do 3 things. It can be a helmet-mounted thermal scanner, a clip-on, or a standalone scope all by itself. For the money, I have not found one with the same features, the same size, and within that price range. I mean, even if you look at the Nox 18 and the Skeet IR, they don't do all 3 things. Most of them only do 2 out of 3. And there's not even a 384, you know, what I'll call a triple threat clip-on helmet standalone on the market yet. This is literally the only one that does all 3, and it does all 3 decent. It's not amazing at any of them. I would say it's better as a helmet-mounted thermal than anything. The clip-on you can definitely get by, but the better the glass that you have behind it, the better off you're going to be. So, and that's pretty much it, folks. So I'll try to answer any questions. Like I said, I'm not a YouTuber or anything like that, so I already suck at videos. I like to talk and bullshit, especially over beer. So send them out to me. Give me a holler.